Dear friends, welcome to Jigyasha. Today I am going to talk about the PAH continuum. So PAH stands for Pedagogy, Andragogy, and Heutagogy. So what does it mean actually? We are in the context of OBE, so which require that ultimately learning has to have a measure shift that is from the teacher-centric to student-centric, right? And this PH continuum is all about that shift. So we have to make a switch from P to H. Consolidately, we say PAH continuum. So I will talk in this video about the PAH continuum. What does it mean? How to make this transition smooth? And secondly, I have taken MBA program just to elaborate how PH continuum can be applied to the MBA program and it can be applied to the curriculum designing to have the desired outcome. So this video is going to help those management people. The department is going for this MBA accreditation where they have a point regarding innovation in pedagogy or pedagogical initiatives by the faculty. So this video will help them to have conceptual clarity that what kind of initiatives they can have in their pedagogy, how they can apply PAH in their curriculum so that whatever NBA want to check out, that is there in their curriculum. So let us start with this PAH continuum. So see how this PAH can be differentiated. Usually we call it pedagogy, right? But as per the prefix peda, that is mean for the children's. Andra is for adult, and heutagogy is something that is self-determined learning. Means where a student, they decide what they want to learn. So that is going to be a major shift in all the HEIs, that how they are going to adopt this PH continuum, because all the policy guidelines, all the accreditation requirement, they demand the same. The era demands the same, because now in Gen Z, they are more and more towards their autonomy. They want to learn with an autonomy. Then how to grant it? Autonomy should not be disastrous. So it has to be a structure. So suppose we compare it on the basis of locus of control, means in watch P, A, and H, who is going to be the central point of control. So as per the usual traditional methodology of teaching, that is called pedagogy. And see, there is a difference. Even UGC has referred a document called Innovation in Pedagogy. And it is sometimes it appears contradictory that whatever we are applying at HEIs to the adults, how it can be called pedagogy, right? So that understanding this continuum is very much essential. Suppose there is no such magical shift from P to H. It has to be a continuous, means there must be a sequence, there must be certain logic, there must be a structure to year-wise shift. Suppose there is 3-year, 4-year course nowadays, then from first year to 4-year, how the curriculum take a student from P to H, that we have to a structure. Similarly, for a postgraduate program like MBA 2-year program, how we are going to handle year 1, how to 2, then you need to address this P to H shift in those 2 years. So it has to be a structural shift. Don't consider that directly we are going to jump. There is no aerial rift. That's why it is called PH continuum. You can shift from P to A, then A to H. That we have to mind while designing the curriculum, while we are delivering it. So when it comes to problem solving loop, single loop means it is just the teacher-centric. Teachers observe the error and he or she corrects. When we go to Andragogy, it becomes adaptive, solves problem by choosing alternative method. So suppose I have taught 3 methods of doing something, and we have asked that our students have gotten autonomy, that out of 3 they may choose any one, right? And then coming to Heutagogy, that we call self-determined. So there is a difference between self-directed and self-determined that we also discussed. So it is called double loop. Double loop means the student defines what he or she wants to learn. Then teacher acts as a facilitator. They need to check their assumptions, how they have the assumption towards the learning. Then how their values or goals that changes, that need to be taken care by the teacher. So that is the role of the teacher in self-determined learning, right? So this is called, I have just introduced, this is 3 levels of learning: pedagogy, that is teacher-led; andragogy, that is self-directed; and heutagogy is self-determined. So in heutagogy, learner defines their own goals, scope, and learning questions. So it is very, very critical and crucial that we need to have. That's why I said that we need to have a structural shift from P to H. From P, if we are moving towards A, that is the self-directed, then limited autonomy is there. And see, there is a comparison of self-directed learning and self-determined learning. As I said earlier, that I later slide, I will be discussing what is the difference between self-directed and self-determined. So as a teacher, we must have the clarity, what does it mean? Otherwise, the entire philosophy, it will fail or it will be a disastrous, because without understanding the philosophy of self-directed and self-determined learning, no one can design appropriate andragogy and heutagogy that will lead to the desired outcome. So far self-directed learning is concerned, primary focus is on developing competence and skill. Nowadays, everybody is talking about developing skills. So in education system, we are supposed to develop the competence and the skill. Then what next? If you, in a closed loop, if you observe, you will say that yes, we are done with our objective. That was the developing the competence and the skills. But no, our role doesn't end here. So we need to move from andragogy to heutagogy, that is self-determined learning, where we need to develop the capability. And the beautiful point is learning how to learn. See the beauty of the word, learning how to learn. It appears just like a tagline. So we need to learn that how we need to learn. That is the beauty. And that is the beauty of your heutagogy. So goal setter is teacher, mentor, or syllabus as per the prescribed structure performer. And here the goal setter is learner themselves. That's why usually we talk about the autonomy, but autonomy can be given to the matured guy. So up to andragogy, the adults are being dealt in such a structured way that they have got a motive that they need to learn, and then they have got the competence to define that how they need to learn. From competence to capability, it's a challenge, and that is the basic requirement. That is the ultimate requirement, rather, I would say. So problem solving is solving a known problem that we usually do in our classroom. Then finding new problem and solving them, that is the heutagogy. So suppose a student goes to industry in summer training and problem has been assigned by the corporate mentor there, and they were working on it, they've made the presentation and they have given a solution. But how it will differ in heutagogy? That there must be a structure, that is teacher is under guidance of the teacher. Students are going to take a problem, they will survey the industry, they will visit, they will interview, they will try why such exploration, just to find out what are the underlying problems that I can solve. So that a student will determine of respective domain of finance, marketing, or HR, or what analytics, whatsoever the specialization is, they will go, they will survey, and they will have a live interaction to find out what is the real problem, and they will work on it. And that's methodology. Usually in MBA, we just resolve this problem by assigning the capstone project. So capstone project is going to lead to the heutagogy. Then whatsoever is being done, it need to be assessed, because how learning has taken place, how you will ensure. So assessment is must. So in problem solving, assessment comes to external evaluation against a rubric. Designing rubric is an art. What need to be assessed, that need to be designed meticulously. Then in this Heutagogy, what happens? Self-reflection and real-world feedback. The word self-reflection need to be understood. Students, they have a reflection diary. They maintain a reflective diary where they narrate that what was the interest, what was the objective of their learning, up to which extent they were able to learn, and how the learning has taken place. They write it themselves, and that is going to be assessed. So learner role, active executor within defined boundaries. So boundaries are there in Andragogy. When it comes to Heutagogy, proactive opportunity finder and co-creator, right? So co-creation is the keyword here. A student and teacher together, they decide that how learning will take place, and the major role is of the student. It is not being regulated by the teacher. So it's about the self-motivation where students have realized, and that's why earlier slide I was saying that it's a beautiful tagline that learners learns how to learn, right? So as I was saying that there is must be a structural shift. So in this slide, I want to convey the same, that a phased approach to building autonomy. So if it is not a structure, if it is not in phased manner, then such autonomy will prove itself a disastrous system. So we have to avoid it. So how it can be led to be in phased manner? That is phase one, pedagogy, andragogy bridge, right? So shifting from pedagogy to andragogy, that is the first phase. What happens? Define the problem and provide a strict rubric. So evaluation is not just like a generic evaluation. It has to be proper designed rubric that assess the particular competency that need to be there. Teach a student how to find credible sources. It is very important. Today, a lot of information is there, but some informations are misleading. So students need to know what are the reliable sources so that their real learning is going to take place. So as a guide, teacher have to take this initiative. They need to facilitate them that what are the credible sources from where they can learn, from where they can take data, and the learning will be there. Phase two is called micro-heutagogy. Means see, heutagogy is something where we are just giving all the rights to a student that they need to devise their own mechanism and how they want to learn. And if enough a structured approach is not there, then it will not happen. So what I mean to say that in phase two, before pure heutagogy, I have divided it into another part that is called micro heutagogy, where a still little bit of regulation is there. So how we can take it to micro heutagogy is assign a standard task but leave the format completely open. So they where students have got the autonomy. A student choose how to demonstrate understanding, paper, podcast, web page, or interview. So that is the choice they are having. And here the Gen Z, it attracts such methodologies attract them that they need to create a web page. They need to have a podcast. They can conduct an interview. They will enjoy. And that reflects their own strength, right? Then what will become to Heutagogy? Students map their own goals using open-ended framework. So learner is going to decide what he or she wants to learn. The instructor act as consultant, evaluating capability rather than competence. So one thing I would like to convey here that we need to understand the difference between competency and capability, right? So till andragogy, what we are doing, we are trying to develop the competency and the skills in our students. Then the real challenge is, although I am skilled, I have the competency, but the problem is how to become capable, right? So capability means where I can apply my skills, that should be known, that need to be evaluated. And in Heutagogy, the learner learns the same. That with all sets of competency and skills, how that is going to be applied to solve the real life problem, that is the beauty of Heutagogy. So it's a clear understanding about the competency and capability Don't get confused. Competency and a skill will lead to capability. Being competent doesn't mean you are capable, right? So being competent, we are ensuring it through andragogy, and we are trying to make them capable through heutagogy, right? So that is the ultimate outcome of the education. So this is how we can introduce micro-heutagogy. The setup is present a standard assignment with clearly defined learning objective. Again, designing learning objective is a task for the instructor because the objective will lead to achievement. But leave the format completely open, right? So what does it mean? That assignment is being there from the instructor. The learning objectives have been defined, but format is completely open. The way you want to do it. Out of 5 methodology, you may choose any one. The content requirement is fixed. The mode of demonstration is known. So what need to be there, that is fixed. That instructor fixes, and the mode of demonstration, that depends upon the learner. The training means prove you understand this marketing concept. You can write a paper, record a podcast, build a web page, or interview local business owner. You decide, means the students reflect on their own strength and communication style. So in this way, we can take them to the heutagogy. That's why I call it micro heutagogy, where the setup is there, the learner is getting training, supervised training is there, and then it will lead to the outcome. Because see, I just said that competence is not enough. You need to know how to apply it, how to make it applicable to the real life problem. That is there through the training. And after training, a student learns, they start understanding it, that what they know, but how they learn best. So concern is initially what I need to know. Then concern is how I can learn the best, right? So there is a choice. So learner, again I will say, learner is going to decide what they want to learn. So it's a guided autonomy. So guided autonomy means, again, same thing. So double loop learning, it is very important. As a teacher, we need to understand the single loop that we are used to. But when we come to double loop, the learning takes place, how it takes place, what it is. So let me define it. When a student team makes a strategic mistake during a business simulation, do not correct them immediately. Again, teachers need to control themselves. It's the basic nature of a teacher. As soon as you find the fault, you start just having the philosophy, you have gone wrong, do this, do this. So what we need to do? Force them to analyze why their underlying assumptions were wrong. That's why it's a double loop learning. Means one loop, teacher is there, another loop is from the student. Because see, nobody learns without committing mistake. That is the beauty of the learning, right? But when we analyze that what went wrong in the process, where my assumptions were wrong, then the real learning takes place. That's why it is called double loop learning, right? So here is an example. So assign a broad problem, analyze the supply chain bottlenecks of a local company. So a student must source the company, contact manager directly, and pitch a solution. That is a task that will lead to heutagogy. So the transition means earlier teacher were defining the objective, right? A student need to learn, then the teacher will devise the assessment, a student will go through, and ultimately we say objective has been achieved. But the transition demands that your objective is going to be co-created. Means the teacher and the learner, they sit together and they define the objective, right? So learning goal is there, move a student from passive problem solver to proactive opportunity finder. So that is the ultimate thing we need to do. Means ultimately there is a transition from P to H. We was talking about PAH continuum. What is the meaning of P to H transition? And now come to this MBA program, that how PH continuum in curriculum design and example I have taken from MBA program. So this part of the lecture, this part of the video will help those people who are going for MBA, they are preparing their HR, SAR, and where they need to incorporate the pedagogical initiatives from their respective faculty. So it will act like something help I want to extend. And the actual process meaning of the lecture is not just to provide a help for MBA. It is all about how real learning takes place, how there is a demand that demands that you have to switch, you have to shift from P to H in a structure and phased manner so that ultimate objective is met. So let us take it through MBA program, means PH continuum for MBA program. So see, for example, first of all, I have taken this financial accounting where I will talk about the pedagogical design, right? Because some example of subjects I have taken to for the each level of learning, that is pedagogy, andragogy, and heutagogy. So really it is going to help the faculty member to decide that it's not in theory. How to apply it, one example is going to definitely help them. So for pedagogical design, suppose there is basic journal entry, then come to trial balance, then come to financial statement, then analysis and capstone, right? So whatever I have mentioned, that establish core mechanisms of double entry bookkeeping, that I want to take in the step 1. Step 2, build accuracy and systematic verification habits. So one step ahead, the student have developed a certain skill. Financial strength, prepare consolidated statement as per IFRS 10. So student will learn how to prepare those. Then last, they will come to the analysis, right? So suppose for Andragogy, I have taken example of a strategic management. So what as a teacher we can incorporate case-based learning, right? So student analyze real organization, their strategic positioning, their competitive advantage. So such live cases will create an interest, right? And whatsoever will be the outcome is going to be the competency. It is not a vague statement I am making. So if you put them into a live cases, it will develop their interest. They will learn and they will be very much pleased that yes, whatsoever the course says that you need to learn has got a real life application. And that feeling once comes, then a student will definitely shift from P to H. Then experiential simulation. Simulation plays a critical role. And andragogical aspect is there with the simulation. So students learn into a controlled environment because variables are fixed, right? But up to which extent they will vary, they are not going to define the variables. A set of values are there. Then they need to make a decision in this virtual world that if variables are varying like this, then what could be the expected outcome? And that make them ready to handle when those variables really vary in the real life. Then peer learning is very important. Classroom discussion leverage cohort expertise. The instructor facilitates synthesis rather than directing. So it's a mature treatment. So it is called andragogy, means for adults, where students know that they are there to learn. So if in a classroom environment, there is a discussion that takes place and the facilitator, means the teacher, they simply synthesize the whatsoever discussion has taken place and they are not going to direct that you have to say like this, you have to say like this. Right? With that practice, they will learn, and that learning comes under andragogical design. Then how we can adopt in MBA curriculum the heutagogical design, that is about innovation and digital transformation. Right? Like nowadays, AI disruption is taking place. So it says that your organization must respond to the AI disruption. Design your digital transformation strategy. It's a task that has been given to the student. So students need to explore. They are just trying to be there in the real world. And whatsoever problem is going to be there, they need to little bit forecast. If AI disruption takes place at their organization, what should be the intervention strategy? If something went wrong, then how they need to act. If they want to regulate, how to do it. So such transformation, digital transformation, innovation that leads, if we are incorporating in our curriculum in this way, so it will come under heutagogical design. Right? So see, it's about open-ended challenges. Real-world scenario where students identify relevant knowledge and seek out resources independently. So instructor is not going to provide the resource. Simply the instructor induces them that dear, this is the real life problem. If they are not going to the company, so we are supposed instructing them through this challenging assignment. It's a real life problem. You need to explore. You need to provide the solution. One another important concept like double loop learning is portfolio based learning that we need to incorporate. Then whatsoever the real flavor we want, that comes to the MBA curriculum. So student document emerging insight, capability development, and adaptive strategy with reflective prompts. What capability did I develop? How did I adapt? That I was saying earlier. That learner decides how to learn. So making them capable is our intention. But they think that what capability did I develop? So they create a portfolio. That is based on their learning. So whatsoever, what components, 1, 2, 3, 4 that I have learned, how I have adapted. So if I adapt, then it means I am learning is taking place. Then peer teaching that I talked earlier, embracing ambiguity means assessment criteria emphasizes adaptive reasoning. That is, this way I learned, this where I went wrong. So that is the reflection. I called it earlier. I told you that there is a reflection diary that a student maintains when it comes to the heutagogical approach. Right? So capability articulation, they have learned that this way it went wrong. So I have devised a next mechanism how to overpower it, how to correct it, and because ultimate aim is to have the capability, right? So there is no predetermined right answers. So they are in the process of learning. Through learning, they define, yes, learning has taken place, the objective has met, it means the process was right, and in this way, they are going to be evaluated. So see, this is a beautiful depiction of heutagogy and capability development. So it's about self-awareness. So self-awareness comes after this andragogy, when one learns under little bit supervised processes of andragogy, where simulation has taken place. After simulation, we are just pushing them to the real life, right? And that creates capability. Capability creation, that is the part that comes through reflection. So how reflection takes place, it will define that how much capability has been there. So see, for the curricular integration of PAH, this is the continuum. First of all, you need to have foundations, and I have classified that under foundations, suppose courses like financial accounting, microeconomics, that usually takes place in semester 1. Then comes to professional application. Earlier I have discussed with the strategic management. Similarly, marketing a strategy. Such courses will come under Andragogy. Then we want to see, somebody says that it is not possible to make some them to learn how to be creative, but not, it is possible. So creativity is something that naturally comes, it is too good. But as a teacher, as an instructor, you can develop creativity. So till Andragogy, you have taken them to the level of Bloom's taxonomy that I am going to talk later. So it will be more clarity to you that how we are designing our program outcome, course outcome, then how we are mapping it taxonomy, how assessment need to map, and how all these things lead to transition from P to H. So capstone project, innovation, digital transformation, such things that comes under Heutagogy. So see curricular segmentation. Just have a look. Course category, just like previous slide, it's foundation. PAH is pedagogical. Courses are accounting, microeconomics, OB. Then rational is the baseline competency, a structured curriculum. So it is more controlled way of making them learn, but ultimately trying to develop certain competency, but that competency is the baseline competency. So when it comes to Andragogy, like a strategic management, financial analysis, marketing a strategy, so rational is leverage experience, case and simulation, right? So that is up to Andragogy, where it comes about the case, live cases and simulation. Then in Heutagogy, innovation, digital capstone. And what is the rationale? That learner determined inquiry, that is very important. And that we are talking since the start of the lecture, that what is HWT, learner defines that what they want to learn. So it's an inquiry that is being determined by the learner. And portfolio assessment, I said earlier, it is very important. So it's simply make you enable to design your curricula by incorporating all these components of PAH. And I have quoted the courses so that it will help you out that under which course, which type of learning should be there and how to guide them. That will help you in designing the pedagogical initiative that I was talking. And when it comes to MBA accreditation, they ask about the pedagogical initiatives, and now you will be in better position to answer the question. So see again something in example that I am trying to make you very much clear, that clearly you can devise your own mechanism through curricula, that PAS transition is possible, and as a particular teacher, what kind of initiative you have to take if you are teaching a particular course. So pedagogy means professor assigns a pre-packaged Harvard Business School case with predefined issue. Such is the example. Same how it can be Andragogy. Professor assigns an industry and a student selects the firm to audit. Right? So a industry has lot of companies. So you are assigning them industry. So limited autonomy is there, that you can choose your own firm, but not the industry. Industry is being fixed from my side. Then in Heutagogy, a student defines a live classic market vulnerability to diagnose. So now they are in a position to identify that what are the real life problem, what kind of problem really the industry is facing, and they will be there to diagnose and solve it. Resources, textbook model, Porter 5 courses, so database. So that is something we are doing, and that is the elementary thing that is called pedagogy. So when it comes to simulation, when it comes to database, Bloomberg, Astesta, Market Intelligence database, it means you are just putting a simulation environment, simulated environment in your classroom, and that is under the Andragogy. And when it comes to live expert network, founder interviews, fluid market data, so a student is directly taking these, they are having a live interaction with those market forces in terms of experts, that how they decide, what they decide, how things work. So that is called Heutagogy. Similarly, for problem solving loop, single loop, adaptive strategic pivot, and then it comes to double loop, where questions the business model entirely. Right? So what went wrong? How things are moving? Am I on right track? So through these things, through this reflection diary that comes under double loop, a student, the learner learns and the learning takes place. So professor's role, what are the particular role of a teacher, professor in PAH continuum? So lecturer, that is up to pedagogy. When it comes to andragogy, become a consultant. You are the facilitator. You guide your team, you guide your student to deliver the project. But when it comes to Heutagogy, you need to act like a coach. So as a coach, you need to challenge their assumptions. You need to guide them that their value, their goals, that is not going to be untouched, the process they are choosing. Right? So as an executive coach, you have to guide them to Heutagogy. So see, it is not about the student, it's a challenge for teachers also, that as per the transition from P to H, your role also switches lecturer to executive coach. So first output in pedagogy will be 3-hour closed book exam testing framework. That is a recall test. Usually we call it test or exam. Consulting deck and data report to a corporate client. So that's why you are being a consultant. Under your supervision, a project has been taken and there is a solution that you have found out and it need to be presented to the corporate. Validated venture, corporate pivot plan, advisory portfolio, that is the ultimate outcome in Heutagogy. Right? So they are going to have a venture that is going to be validated. Right? So they devise their strategy, they'll run it, they have devised their advisory portfolio. So these comes under Heutagogy. Right? So this will make you clear that how in MBA the shift can be there from pedagogy to Heutagogy. Then how to implement it in practice, it is very important. Mere knowing will not serve the purpose. The implementation matters. Then we will discuss that how to conclude what will be the exact outcome of the implementation. Now, as I was saying, that I will come to the taxonomy level because that defines the learning. So we have to adopt the taxonomy. And there is the thing, CO, PO, taxonomy, assessment, all are interlinked. You can't work on isolation on any one of them. So when it comes to pedagogy, so your intention, your ultimate learning objective is to take them up to level 3 of taxonomy, means remember, understand, apply. So what are the features of a basic pedagogy? Clear learning outcome. And learning outcome need to be met with Bloom's taxonomy. So taxonomy is up to 3, then you need to take it up to 3. A structured curriculum, right? So you devise a curriculum, you define the content, guided practice, summative assessment is going to be there. So see, you need to have a watchful that mere adoption will not ensure outcome. It need to be assessed because outcome comes from assessment. So what kind of assessment has to be there to ensure what we want? That is very important. So if you want to take your students up to level 3, it is suggested that summative assessment will work for it. Basically, what we have a notion regarding assessment, it's almost summative. And in OB, we are just shifting from summative to formative. It is going to be continuous. So hope today's video may bring clarity to you that what kind of design elements are there in my approach, then how to assess, how to design assessment, that is very important. So when it comes to Andragogy, it will take up to level 4, means apply and analyze. So we have discussed about the case-based learning, simulation, peer collaboration. So here assessment has to be mixed. Rubric-based project, peer evaluation, instructor feedback, right? It means you are giving a mature treatment to your students. That's why it is called Andragogy. So they are on the verge of entering to Heutagogy. Before that, you need to assess. So your assessment has to be powerful, and power comes with the tool. Right kind of tools you need to design to assess, then only that it will bring competence. And for Heutagogy, it is all about design, creation. So creation comes after evaluation. Until unless you evaluate, you can't create. So the beauty of taxonomy is the hierarchy has to be followed. It is not, you can devise as a teacher, you can devise such a curricula that is the aerial route, that level from 1 to level 6, it's not a valid proposition at all. So it has to be there, transition has to be there because it is in demand, it is the need of the hour, we need to adopt it, but it has to be a structure, it has to be in phased manner. So it's an open-ended challenge, portfolio-based learning, learner agency, right? So we have discussed enough. Come to last point, that is assessment. So it's a metacognitive reflection. Means a structure prompts guiding articulation of learning process and growth phases, and that comes from the reflection diary that your learner is writing, right? So it's all about the metacognitive reflection. The students are in such a stage that they have defined their learning path, they have defined their objective, and through their reflection, you need to assess that up to which extent they have been capable, they have been able to apply their competence to solve the real problem. Right? So it's a summary, what I was saying. Pedagogical, Bloom's 1, 2, 3 exams and problem set. That is about assessment. Again, I came to assessment. Why? Because we need to remember, we need to understand, it is very important. Up to level 3 and 4, case, group project. For Heutagogy, portfolio and self-assessment. Right? So now again, it comes to more clarity will be there through this table. Right? So if you are teaching a course that is under pedagogical element, it means it will go up to 1 and 3, then what kind of assessment method? Earlier I was talking in gross, now see it has been particularly defined. So you need to adopt quiz, midterm, final exam, problem set. Evaluation criteria will be accuracy, completeness, adherence to a standard. Usually we do. So come to Andragogy. It's about taxonomy 3 to 4. Then how to assess, case analysis, peer evaluation, group project. Then what will be the evaluation criteria? That what is the quality of analysis? How concept has been applied and how evidence have got the integration. So you need to evaluate through these assessment tools, these criteria. Heutagogy, again, it will go to Bloom's level 5 and 6. Portfolio review, self-assessment, capstone project. These are the tools adopted to assess the Heutagogy. So Heutagogy evaluation criteria will be capability articulation, metacognitive depth, and adaptive reasoning. So it is very much essential that as a evaluator, you need to evaluate it, the capability articulation, because this is the final call and your assessment will ensure, will define that how much capable they have been. So see, it's a PAH continuum with taxonomy in gross. Taxonomy means, Bloom's taxonomy. So it clearly defines what I was talking, but it's an integrated approach where you can feel that yes, level 1, that was written level 1, now you can see level 1 means remember. What kind of assessment tool I can adopt, it is there in the column, then which approach it leads, that is there. So it's a summary of 3 slides that how Bloom's taxonomy can be integrated for PAH continuum. It guides us that what kind of assessment has to be there, what kind of assessment tool we need to apply for each approach separate. So see, PH continuum, positioning across MBA curriculum, pedagogy, financial accounting, microeconomics, andragogy, strategic management, financing a strategy, right? And then digital transformation, innovation. So Heutagogy. So it's a phased approach, and this is the PH continuum. So repeatedly, something you may feel that it is being repeated, but I think it is very much required so that at the end of the video, you could find yourself in a position, yes, I am ready to design my curriculum as per the PH continuum. So let us come to this strategic integration. So first of all, through these pedagogical courses, we try to ensure the foundational competency. With andragogical courses, we try to move one step ahead towards professional application. And the last one is adaptive capability that we try to ensure through heutagogical approach. Right? So as I was saying that it's a 2-year course, 4-year course. In a phased manner, you need to define the journey from P to H. So here is a suggestion that in year 1, we can have pedagogy-based courses. In year 2, we can have this andragogy, and simultaneously in the last semester, up to last semester, we can move to heutagogy through capstone project, right? We can have certain live projects. That is capstone project is also in ideal form. It's a live project where a student go, they find out the problem of the industry or the local community, whatsoever they want to do. Then they come across the problem they want to resolve, they work on it, and they submit their assessment, and ultimately it's getting reward in terms of degree. So in this way, we can take our MBA students through the PS continuum, means we are trying to develop the foundational integration. Then it comes to professional application, competency and skilling, then last making them capable. So in this way, our product, that is the outcome for the student outcome, is going to be better. That is very much in demand by the accreditation agency, because ultimately they come to your premise to assess you in terms of outcomes. So in real essence of this OBE is like this. And how OBE is related with PAH, how PAH is related with taxonomy, and how this composite, the entire integration will lead to the outcome. That is the essence of today's video. And I hope you might have got it. So ultimately, there is a suggestion that how a faculty can implement. So capstone and integrative seminars benefit from pedagogical scaffolding and andragogical casework, heutagogical open-end challenge, all within a single course. A strategic positioning match the dominant PH position to the primary learning objective, then layer complementary approaches for depth. So this way, it is a guideline, this way you can implement. Assessment alignment, it is very much required, right? So once you decide the project, the methodology, the assessment tool, it need to be assessed. Then you need to put a strategic positioning, means in which term what should be taught, how it should be taught, how it has to be assessed. So first of all, you need to figure it out from in the PH continuum. Then figure out how PH is going to be there into the curriculum, so that by the end of the program, a student goes to the society with a capable guy, as a capable guy. Means competency has been developed, the skill has been developed, and they have the ability to apply those competencies and the skills for the benefit of the society, and that is the ultimate aim of the education. So what will happen to your graduate through this PH continuum? That is you really want to transform the world. So real transformations come from education only. So the moral is that you have to own it, that whatsoever, suppose India want to be a developed nation, so on paper it is not possible until unless we are there to execute it. So transformation will take place if you apply for pedagogy. It means foundation stone is laid. Through andragogy, they are going to apply with experience, right? And through heutagogy, led through ambiguity, right? Clarity is not there. That's why they ventured that it's a problem. It appears a problem. So let us come across and to solve it. And then they venture into the real world as a capable fellow who is going to transform the world. So it is not enough to put transforming the world in your vision and mission. It is important to live in that spirit. So designing your curriculum with that spirit, then only you can align with your vision and mission. Whatsoever the ultimate, everybody says that we want to change the society, transform the world. Yes, I am also saying in a structured manner and guiding you that how transformation can take place. So thank you. I hope it will help you in achieving the objective, as I just clearly spelled out initially, that this video will help those people who are preparing for their MBA program. They need to design their assessment. They need to design a worthy curriculum, and they need to devise tools in terms of pedagogical initiatives. So this video will certainly help you. Thank you. Thank you so much.